How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much. back in Los Angeles for a second.
Where are you off to next? Or
We have three festivals in UK. So we have Glasgow this weekend, then we have BFI Flare and Manchester end of the month.
yeah, the fun, that's actually really cool because I've done all of those and they're fun in their own ways.
Yeah, so it's a UK Trinity.
So you'll be in person at all of them then.
Good question. I don't know the answer. I'm definitely coming for the BFI and Manchester, and I'm trying to make Glasgow happen, but we'll see if I can succeed. I have 4 days to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one too, because like that's because I was based in Chester earlier, like before, so I was able to get to Glasgow easier, but I didn't realize how difficult it was from
Mhm.
down here. So, but I hope you can make it to all of them because they're fun in their own way and they have different audiences.
Yeah, I hope so too. We'll
Yeah.
see.
But yeah, for BFI Flare, I didn't realize. I saw that your film was going, but after I watched it, and I was like, that makes sense. Um, which I really liked. So, yeah, if you're good, I'll ask. I have a question. So about the film. So,
Yeah.
what made you want to explore a like this type of complex relationship with composers? Do you think do you think them being like artists made it a different way to explore this type of relationship?
Yeah, so we don't want to give any without giving anything
Yeah.
away. So we have to kind of talk around the film, unfortunately. We can't really talk about what the film really is about, but I can still answer this question. Um, yes, it's a personal story that's based on something that happened to me when I was in film school. And so I wanted to make sure my characters are also artists of some sort because, the story centers around a traumatic event. And it's very interesting the way trauma affects artists because it can really affect their voice and really affect, the kind of work they put out or if they put out any work at all. And so I wanted to kind of play around with that and have an artist. And I was thinking maybe she should be a painter or a photographer. I just, went through different versions of that. And I thought that music is an art form that can kind of pierce the heart directly. It has this immediate effect. So you can really feel what the artist is feeling right away. And so I chose for them to be musicians. And my mother was a musician,
Oh,
so um, it's not in any way an homage to her, but the character is kind of based on her loosely. So yeah,
that's a nice way to put it all together then.
yeah,
I do feel like the way, I don't know if well, probably you did it in how you use the music, like even just in the opening, it just makes it fit with them being composers too. Um,
yes. I took a really intentional approach to choice of music in the film because exactly that they're musicians. So I worked with a really talented musician, Midori Hirano. She's a Japanese musician living in Berlin, and she mixes classical. She's a classically trained composer, but she mixes classical music with like sounds of AC units and trains and people talking and like dogs barking.
Yeah.
So I really like that. So I discovered that after I started working with her on this classical score, and then we were chatting one day, and I was like, "Well, what were you like when you were main character's age, when you were like 25?" And she told me she got bored of classical music and she started recording all this weird sounds and mixing it together. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. We have to do that for our main character." So that's kind of how it started. And then the opening music is actually a piece by Carolyn Shaw that she won a Pulitzer for, and she's like the youngest woman to win a Pulitzer in music, and I thought that was very interesting. And that piece is only vocal. There is no musical instrument. So I thought, like, all these women are really pushing boundaries of the form, and I thought that was so interesting. And then, um, yeah, that was the approach.
Well, I think it works really well, so I hope other audiences think that too. So, um, I was wondering, so this is your first like fictional feature, right?
It's my
Um,
first narrative feature,
yeah.
exactly.
Um, but you've directed short films that you haven't written, but this one you've written. How do you approach things differently when you've written what you're directing compared to when you're just directing something someone else has written?
Yeah, I mean, I went to film school. I went to USC film school, and I've directed 13 shorts there, and then I've directed a few more shorts afterwards. Some I've written, some I haven't. And I have to say, when you don't write a piece, you really have to find a personal access point to it, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to find a piece of yourself in it, in your character's struggle. So, of course, the work I write is more personal by definition, and it's more, uh, more uniquely felt. Like every scene, every line a character says, you as a somebody who originated it, you feel it more deeply, and so when you translate it on screen, everything is just like processed more. Whereas if you work with other people's writing, you have to be really careful. First of all, you need to make it your own. And second of all, you have to be very attentive to details and really, like, sometimes a line or a word might not make a big difference, but if you think about it long enough, you might see like why the writer had it in there.
Yeah. Would you say that if you chose something to direct that wasn't written by you, you'd need to like fully be passionate about it or like have it speak to you?
I told my reps that I'm going to be focusing on writing my own work, but I want them to keep looking for something for me to direct. And the indicator will be if I read something and I get so jealous, I get just green with jealousy that I wish I wrote it, I will direct that.
That's fair. I feel that after what, yeah, that makes complete
I've,
sense.
yeah, I've had a few things I read and I was like, oh my God, it's so good. I cannot believe I didn't write this. I'm so jealous.
That's the best thing to direct then, isn't it? Because then you can turn it and like even though it's not yours, you can make it yours while working with someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To stay away from the plot then and like not talk about that as much. Um, can we talk about the coloring that you used?
Yes, of course. And by
Yeah.
the way, we can talk about the plot, but in the sense of like how trauma affects women, and like we can talk about general idea of
Yeah.
healing from trauma. We can't say what it is. The coloring. So that was a process. So I went to art school. I'm a painter. I've been painting my whole life. And, because the process of making this film was taking so long, just putting it together took
Hmm.
8 years. I started, and I paint in my daily practice as a human person. I paint sometimes. And I started painting these paintings and I realized like, wait, is this like a scene from my film that I'm putting together that I'm working on? And yes, I realized that they're all in the same color palette and they're watercolors. And so we decided um, basically, there are two separate storylines in the
Yeah.
film. There's present day Greece, which is kind of like cool, muted tones that feels kind of faded. And then there's London 2 years prior that's full of color and saturation. And the colors there are like red and purple and green and orange. So um, those were the two palettes that I've painted in. And then okay. And then I talked, okay, and this is going to be weird. And then I talked about the film with my production designer, who's a genius, Olga Yurasova. She's a Ukrainian production designer. She's also a painter, and she also paints watercolors like me. And I didn't show her my paintings, but I described her the feeling of
Hmm.
the scenes and the colors. And she gives me a color palette that has exactly almost like 90% perfect correlation to the color palette in my paintings.
That's kind of creepy.
Isn't
But
that creepy?
yeah, it works though. Like, because that's what that's what I was gonna ask you about was like how the past was like more bright. And I don't know if you did it specifically for the reason like it's in the past and like it's more they're just like they're meeting each other and then where you go into the present, it's more they've been together for long, so it's like more new like it just feels like did you purposely make like even though you were drawing it and then this is what happened, do you think that subconsciously that's why you did it because where they're at in the present is a lot different than the happiness or like the giddiness they are like at the
Yes.
start of a relationship?
I wanted the start of the relationship to feel full of life, full of color, full of intensity. And so I used this kind of really saturated colors. They're deep secondary colors. There's no primary colors in the whole film. And then, then there is this traumatic event that happens that kind of strips her world of color. And I wanted the present to be kind of faded, as if she lost the color in herself. And you can see it in her hair, makeup, and costumes, but you can also see in the external world as well. It feels faded. It feels like the color has been drained. Yeah, good
Yeah.
observation.
Yeah, well, no, because there's stuff like that. Because you, it feels like it's just something that's explored quite often, but if it's not done in a way that everything connects, and I feel like you've done it in a way that connects everything and like changes it throughout the process. So that was one of the things I noticed was the coloring, and I thought it was really like even in the poster and in like some of the stills, it's just really the color is just even though for the present it's soft and dull, it's like it just feels like it pops in a way, and you're like you're looking at it for that.
Yeah, so I have color sensitivity, so I see more shades than like your average
Hmm.
person. And so colors are really important to me. And some colors really get on my nerves. Like I see a color and it's same as like the nails on the chalkboard. That
Okay, yeah.
feeling, I get it from certain colors. I really like cannot stand certain colors. And then certain colors give me insane pleasure. And like I can feel them like a breeze on a Sunday afternoon. Like they just feel so good. And that's why the colors in the film are very specific to me and like what I like.
Mm. I mean,
Yeah.
it works, and it's nice to like. That's why I wanted to ask about it. So it's nice to know that that's why you've decided to do it, because like it adds an extra layer to your film, as in it's the colors that you as the
Yeah.
director wanted in your film,
But
and
they're
I
like
feel like fit.
specific, yeah, there are specific shades and like that I would fight for. I would be like, no, it has to be a little bit warmer, just like the shade is not quite right yet. So yeah. And like my artistic team was so on board with that. They saw right away that I see that like, I'm really specific about the colors and shades, and they were not fighting it. They were just going with it, thank God.
I mean, that's
Because I'm
good.
sure it's not super easy where your director is like, no, it's a different color, I promise. The shade is different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The another question I had for you, it's I know you like it's your film st talks about like focuses on a traumatic experience, but in within your character, you could have made her something different, like you designed her specifically, and I just wondered what throughout it, because And I mean, I feel like I can ask you this because your film's going to BFI Flair, which is a queer film festival. What made you want to write? Is it another personal thing? And I don't know what you're comfortable saying, but like how you, she's a queer character, so what made you want to have your protagonist, or was there anything specific in wanting her to be
Yeah,
queer?
no, no, I'm totally open. I'm open to talking about it. You know, I'm a queer woman. As a queer writer, I'm gonna write what I know. And so I set the whole story in a queer world where every character is queer and they're somehow handling or dealing with their own queerness or exploring it in some way. So that was like a no-brainer for me. I didn't even think about it
Yeah.
twice, to be honest. It felt right. And it's as you go through life and you experience certain pain and you experience certain trauma, it also you experiencing it as an artist, but you're also experiencing it as a queer person. You're also experiencing it as a woman. Like there are all these like facets of your personality, of your identity that get affected by this thing, by this traumatic event. And I wanted to explore it all. I wanted to just not simplify it and have this female character be portrayed in the complexity of her identity with like all of her as an artist, as a woman, as a lover, as a queer person, like how something like that would affect the plurality of who she is.
But that's really nice. I always feel like because I'm queer too, so like it's just nice to see it on the screen. So like even in like such a subtle way, and you just said that you just didn't even think about it. So it's nice to know that like that's what's starting to happen is like you can just have the characters there and be themselves and not need to be like, oh, the one who's in a horror film who gets killed first, or like, oh, the one who's
Yeah,
just like there as like the sidekick. So it's just it's nice to see it.
I think I think this is the next step of an evolution for queer cinema, where it's not just about a really tragic coming out story. It's not just about where their queerness is the heart of the conflict. It's not about their relationship with their parents and their queerness.
Hmm.
It's a story completely unrelated to that, just about it being a human while being queer. So queerness is just like a backdrop of a completely human story, and I think we need more of those
Yeah.
where it's just like it's not about that.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's really nice to see it too. As like a as a yeah, as like the new I mean, there's more there's a bunch of different generations, but I feel like it's just nice to see it to be able to see it because like when I was a kid I couldn't. So like I feel like even though like it's not specific like you're not film's not targeted towards kids, but I just feel like it's nice to know that that's what kids can see as they grow up now is more films like this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think just like normalizing it and making it just, this is just the world we live in. That's it.
Yeah. So I have one last question. It's kind of just a general wondering is you've talked about how it's the film's like the story's personal to you and I just wondered if you could sum up in a couple of words, how do you hope people react to the film? Like what do you think is the most important thing that someone could take from the film in any sense, like not in any way? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, the most important thing for me is that it starts important conversations that we haven't heard yet, that are not, or conversations that are not nuanced enough, you know? And I kind of went into making this film with that in mind. I want people to start looking into this subject matter, but also, it would be nice if someone who could see themselves on screen, who could see themselves in the story, would feel less alone.
Mhm.
And lastly, you know, the story is about, and I can say that, a woman learning to speak up. And I think it's time for women, young women especially, to stop internalizing, you know, the pain that's caused to them and start speaking out about it, finding the agency to talk about it, finding the language to talk about it, and sharing their experiences. So I hope it will inspire someone to either get out of an unhealthy relationship or at least um, start talking about it, or maybe seeing a character being able to heal from something like this on screen will help them in their own healing journey.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's so good. Thank you. I hope that that's what audiences can see from it, or just any sense of that, and just being able
Yeah.
to explore it throughout your film. Yeah.
I hope so too. Listen, this is like a really, it's an independent film.
Mhm.
You know, I made it without like a big production company or a studio backing. It's all about the grassroots. I made it, I had a dream for a million young women to see it. I kept telling myself this when things were really hard. And I was like, I don't know if I can keep going. I would remind myself, I want a million young women to see this film. And so I hope like, the world will spread, and I hope that women will get to see this film, young, especially young women, and spread the word. And um, I hope that the film will have the life that will help someone or reach someone who needs to see it.
Yeah. Well, I hope so too. It's a very beautiful film. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so
You as well.
much.
Thank you for
Um,
hopping on and talking about it too. And it's really nice.
of
I find
course.
like it's nice to be able to talk to a director. Like I've done this a couple times now, and it's nice to be able to hear because everyone's you interpret films differently, but it's nice to know where the director came from or like where you came from while making it and creating it. And I feel like it adds another layer to the film and like the story that's trying to be told. So thank you.
Of course. And thanks so much for, covering cinema. Do you know where this is going to be released or published?
Yeah, so I write for a couple outlets, but this will be on Filmotomy, which is a UK based site. So it'll be on the YouTube there once we get that edited and ready to go. And then I think I'm gonna do it for like with the Glasgow Film Festival release as well. And then the review will
I
be
mean,
there too. Yeah.
that would be really helpful. I hope it will come to Glasgow. I hope that the film will sell out.
I hope so too. I've actually because, like I was saying earlier, because of the price and the cost, I'm actually not able to make it in person. So it's been nice to be able to do stuff virtually and like some screeners. But I will actually be at BFI Flare too, because it's in London, so I'm covering
All
that.
right.
So that'll be good. Um,
I'll be there.
that'll be
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Great. Well, I hope to see you there in person.
yeah, that'd be lovely.
And
I will.
like,
That'd be nice.
if you think of anything else, yeah, if there's like a question you forgot to ask, you can ask it during the Q&A.
Oh, perfect. I've actually been I've been talking to the BFI, so I could probably try to set something up. So yeah, that'd be nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I wish you all the
Awesome.
luck at your other film festivals, and I hope to see you at BFI Flare.
Thanks. Thanks so much. I hope to see you there too.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, I guess, because it's that time there.
Yes. Thanks so much. Night.
Bye.
Bye.